Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I plan is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we about to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and him. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill. When we talk about the Bills dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
Look at that. We got it to work. We got it to work. Is this? You started on the wide shot? Oh, the producer ruined the surprise. All right, so on days where we don't have Mac here, we're gonna go with the wide shot so y'all can get a different. I know, right? Hi, Mom. Yeah. So this is where we at. Y'all can see a little bit more of the set. You know what I'm saying? See what we got going on here. Anyway, welcome to the show. It's the Post Podium Podcast, home of the All Truth, No Sodium takes. I am your co-host, Aramis.
And he tried to sabotage me, but it's going to be okay. It's key.
I don't know about sabotage. No, we were dealing with some Windows Internet Defender issues here because for some reason the sound just wasn't working. As you can hear when we tried to start the show, it just blasted itself into loudness, and it came out of nowhere. I have no idea what happened, but we got some really good stuff. We got some really good stuff. So we got some breaking news.
Breaking news.
I'm gonna just break it. Now. Is that cool?
Hey,
you breaking it out?
Go ahead, break it.
So I was talking to a source of mine. A very prominent Bills alum was at the OTAs and the mandatory minicamp and was just shaking his head and saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? Now, when I heard that, I'm like, did he say that to the coach? Source goes, yeah.
Why not? He can't get fired.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Right. So I'm like, oh, this is even better. What did Sean say? Mm-hmm. And according to the source.
Rich, you listening?
I hope Rich is listening.
Rewind it if he's not.
According to the source, Sean just let it roll. I mean, the Bills alum was just asking, like, look, like what's going on with the defense? Now, mind you, the Bills alum liked the defensive scheme. He just had an issue with the size of the linebackers, the defensive line not covering gaps, and the exact quote was, it seems like they don't want to do it.
When you're that tiny, it's not what you can do.
Well, I'm talking about the defensive line.
That's what I'm saying. When they're that tiny, ain't that what you can do.
Right. That's true.
I mean, everybody talks about how huge. We're not going to talk about me. We're going to talk about Greg Rousseau. He's not the biggest man in the world.
True.
And they make it seem like this guy is monstrous. Yes, he's got big hands. He's got long arms.
But he's lanky.
He's not. Yeah, he's very long.
Right.
Von Miller, he's light. Javon Solomon, he's light. Even going inside, Ed Oliver, Gable Stevenson, they're all light. That's the only person I didn't name right now. And actually, I don't know enough about Deshaun Williams and Austin Johnson. Is that his name? I don't know enough about them. But I think
these are new guys.
Yeah, the guy from the Chargers, the D tackle.
Oh,
correct me. It's Austin something.
Okay.
But I think Deshaun Williams is 6'1", 295 or something like that. He played some nose tackle for Carolina. Mm. And the other guy I'm thinking about, Austin, actually I have it in my notes. Austin Johnson, yeah.
Okay.
He is not that big either. I mean, you're looking at somebody, like I said, I think he's about 6'3", 305 or something like that. It's not that big.
It's Dwayne Carter,
right?
With years of experience.
and that's the thing. You think about the size they have, and we've been talking about this on the show ad nauseum. We have a small defense. They're fast. Well, the back seven's fast. The front four is whatever.
Wait,
I wish they were
the defense? Fast. I don't even know if we can say that. Like,
well,
we have 1-4-3 guy.
Well, I'm talking about field speed. I'm talking about like Milano. He flies to the ball. Bernard flies to the ball.
Okay.
Well, obviously we don't know enough about Taylor Rapp and Mike Edwards. Some people say they do, but we haven't seen him in his defense.
Right.
But thinking about what we had with Poyer and Hyde, they all flowed to the ball. We played fast, maybe not track speed fast, but they played the football game at a higher level of speed. Now we got to program ourselves to bringing these small guys, like you said, and they're not interested in playing, per se the role that they're asked to play. But it's not even that. There's a lot of them, they mask the fact that they don't know how to play that role.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. So your alum, he's looking at, he's like, what's this going to do? This is what you came up with?
Yeah, I mean, again, if and we've said this before, in the nickel, you cannot have your defensive line be responsible for as much as they're being told to be responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
You just it's counterproductive, even in a rotation, right? Which brings us to the topic we actually want to talk about today. And we can go into stuff we heard,
However you want to run it. I'm flexible. You said D-line, my ears perked up. I think I want to thank Pierre for this one.
Yes, absolutely. Because one of the things, let me read what he said, because I really want to dive into this. I said on Thursday, I think was when we recorded, that there's a couple of caveats to the scheme and what the defensive line is being told to do that stops them from being able to be great, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, he kind of made the point first, but he said the defensive line rotation may never have a prospect work like we want. Because we were talking about, their search for a pass rusher and their search for a pass rushing defensive tackle and all that kind of stuff, right? And the Ed Oliver pick was modeled after the Aaron Donald fame that came to be the year they won the Super Bowl. So I want to start with this and tell me what you think. The linebacker's responsibility in this scheme is purely backup to the defensive line. The defensive line is responsible essentially for stopping about 90% of the run.
The defensive line, in essence, is responsible for not letting the offensive line get to the second level.
Right.
That's an egregious misuse of defensive line, but that's a story for another day. Actually, probably about 5 minutes from now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, the way they build our two linebacker crew is all speed, no power. Well, I don't want to say no power. That's disrespectful, but no power. Terrell Bernard, little. Milano, big, they're little.
And by power, you mean strength, right?
Strength.
Like,
block shedding, getting their nose in the hole, not getting blown off their assignment. Their assignment is to back up, not go forward, not Brandon Spikes, not, and that's one of the reasons why people like me did not like Terrell Bernard, or not Terrell Bernard, what's his name? Edmonds, Tremaine Edmonds, because at his size, people expect him to be this middle linebacker. In essence, he played like a much smaller man.
Right.
He just had the size. I don't want to go as far as to say he was a big B, but that's how they played him, a finesse guy.
Right. Right. I kind of hated watching the clips of Ed Oliver at Houston once I realized what he was going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they said 3-tech, I'm like, why are you raving so much about him beating double teams?
Double coverage. And what got me was why are they raving so much about his speed catching up with running backs on the wide side.
Right.
I'm like, I don't need him to do that.
All that stuff really has nothing to do with maximizing his impact on the field.
Right.
All of that stuff really, truly, if he's doing his job, is just icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to disrespect Ed Oliver. He's actually become an impact player on this defense. And I do think he's one of the players on this defense that could go to another defense and still play at the same level. I think he is that good.
I think he actually be better in other defenses. Guys that's
Imagine
that's
him playing
the kick.
next to Fletcher Cox.
That's the kick. See, that's the kick. Somebody with strength.
Right.
Somebody with the pass rush arsenal next to him.
Right.
Come on now.
Right. And that's the key. So when we're talking about how the Bills draft, because that's really how we landed on this conversation, and that's what Pierre was talking about in reference to our conversation on Thursday. When you talk about how the Bills draft in terms of their pass rushers that they've drafted, even the pass rushers that they've kept, these guys cannot – it's almost like they can't afford to specialize in pass rush, because so much of their responsibility is going to land in run stopping. I mean, if you look at the size of their linebackers, every offensive coordinator is licking their teeth and can't wait to run the ball on us, because who the linebackers going to shed? Who are the linebackers going to get around or get through to get to the running back? So essentially, as an offensive coordinator, I'm saying, listen, I'm putting my 5 against their 4, and one of my 5 is going to get through to the next level, and it's over after that. How easy? Let me ask you this: how easy does that sound? All I have to do is get one of my guys to the next level, and all I have to do to get one guy to the next level is have my 5 beat 4 guys.
Every time.
It's going to work every time. And we've seen this for the last 6 years, and this is going to be year 7 of it. Because if anybody on this side of Bills fandom thinks that the situation is just going to miraculously fix itself with the guys that we have, listen, there's a big difference between effort and ability. You can give all the effort you want, but if you don't possess the ability to accomplish a task, it's not going to get done. And again, this is not to slight the players that we have. Love the guys we have. I'm just not a fan of the team build from a standpoint of what you want to accomplish. Okay? Do I love the fact that our linebackers can cover? Yes. Do I like the secondary? Actually, yes. I like the prospects of what we could have. What I would like to see is, and I've said this before, I'd like to see Benford move to safety. I'd like to see Rasul Douglas be the number 1 corner and Elam kind of take this year to get a full year of playing time and then come on as our number 1 next year. And then if you want to move Benford back to corner, you can, that's fine. Because at that point, you'll be in a position to draft another safety to play next to Cole Bishop, right? But all of that is to say, what sticks out in this defensive build is a defensive line that is either too small to pass rush the way that they need to, or they're too small to stop the run. They're too small.
I was looking at that. I mean, average depth of tackle for the Bills is egregious. It's bad. AJ Epinesa is averaging a tackle at the line of scrimmage. And then the next closest person is Daquan Jones, who's averaging a tackle a yard gain. For a nose tackle, that's not disruptive to me. You know, you're talking about 18th, just around Quinnen Williams, but that's Daquan Jones. He's supposed to be, stopping at the line. But what about where's he attacking the backfield? Where is Rousseau? Where is Epinesa? Where are the other guys that play defensive end? Leonard Floyd even. They were inactive in the backfield. You're looking at I wanted to impress you, so I got another stat for you in a moment. I'm gonna exhaust this lack of strength deal first.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. If you could, because I know I don't have the access to the sites that you have, but the Bills sacked the quarterback 54 times last year, right?
Yep. They were
Where does that fourth?
Fourth.
They were fourth overall.
Fourth overall.
Okay, so is that? Did Daquan Jones miss any time?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he had that torn pec, so he missed most of the season.
Okay. Over the span of the last 6 years, where do the Bills rank in terms of sacks?
I have to look that. I have to get that number for you, but I can tell you that pressure-wise, they've never been above 5th in the league, and they've only been under 10 twice since McDermott's been the coach. You had 15 one year, you had 12 another year, you had 10, 7, 5, and I think one was like 19 or something like that. So pressure-wise, the Bills have never been a pressure-minded team, even last year.
Okay. Is there a way for us to figure out the length of time for the sacks? Like the average length of time from snap to sack?
I have to look at that.
Okay. Let's even if we don't find that out today, we can bring that up. But the reason for me bringing that up is you can easily look at the 54 sacks and say,
it's coverage.
Well, that's my point. That's my point, is that I think everything that has to do with the way the defensive line rushes the passer is all about the coverage and how great it's been the last 6 years.
Okay, I'm not going to break it, but you're going to make me break it.
Come on, break it.
No, what I want to go to, because this is a bigger picture. I don't want to come off your point because there's more meat on the bone.
Okay.
But I had some research that I did. You know how I am. I'm an egghead. I had to do it. I'm looking at rotations, which I think is button push. And I'll explain why in a moment. So if you guys think the rotations of defense is the way to go, let me change your mind. But in and of itself, we still don't have what we need at nose tackle. We still don't have a nose tackle. That's first and foremost thing. If you had a nose tackle, you would see instant dividends when it comes to stopping the run, which you're lucky that you're stopping the run at the clip that you are, because guess what? Teams can't run on us because they got to play catch up.
Exactly.
So when I looked at the numbers, of course, the touchdowns on the run against the Bills are low.
But that's why, and that's the main reason why, and this is getting talked about a lot in the last 2 years, that's why the Bills' point differential is what it is in tight games. That's why they struggle so much when the game is close, because if a team can run the football and the Bills have to play honest defensively, they can't play from ahead and just pin their ears back and rush the passer, it's a problem.
They gave it 4.6 yards a rush last year. 4.6 yards. I think that was good for fourth or fifth worst in the league. And I mean, this is a recurring thing. This happens every year under McDermott. We sell out to stop the run. And, in that game we played Kansas City where they what did they want to do? They wanted to stop the pass and let them run all over us. How much did they let you versus how much did you just run on them?
Right.
My thing is you're not equipped. Your linebackers have never been run stuffers. Your D-line, for all you want to talk about, is a sieve up the middle. Ed Oliver, I demonstrated last show. Ed Oliver was one of the worst defensive run D tackles in the league. He's just too small. So you double down, bring in Gable Stevenson. For what? And I make fun of his size all the time, but I'm like, in and of itself, the guy's never played football and he has no meat on his bones. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, easily.
I don't care how much of a wrestler you are; it doesn't matter.
Right?
Because you got a guard and a Osiris Torrance and whoever else you want to put coming at a 265-pound man. That's like a dude knowing karate, but he's like real thin. Is he going to be able to beat everybody up? No, not in a street fight.
Right.
Not in a street fight.
It's completely
you got discipline, but you can still get your face kicked in.
Right.
And that's what you're seeing with this Bills defensive line. And to Pierre's point about what we want to see, I just demonstrated for you last time what I like out of my D tackle. 6'3", 6'5", 305 to
6'9", 430.
That was off his guard though. Half Thor's a beast. Half Thor's half man amazing. But no, I mean you think about what we're bringing in. We're bringing in these undersized guys for what? They like interchangeability.
Yeah.
And the teams that play good defense on the defensive line do not do that. They have, a rotation of 4 or 5 D tackles and a rotation of defensive ends, but they don't rotate systematically. They rotate based on fatigue, based on if you're getting trimmed up, you're coming out. Yeah. But for the most part, I was listening to the Overreaction show with Joe Miller, and it was John Fina and Ostrowski on there. And Ostrowski contended that a rotation at defensive end is good, whereas Fina's like, I don't know about all that, But what I can tell you is, F it, I'll break it now. I was trying.
Oh, my man Rich is on with us.
McDermott Rich, run it back so you can hear the blasphemy.
Starting early.
I ran for the last 12 years the leading sackers.
Okay.
Out of 133 eligible guys, which is 10 sacks or more, there were only 4 guys in 12 years that played less than 50% snaps and got 10 sacks. Leonard Floyd was one. Jerry Hughes was another. Ezekiel Ansah was one. Brandon Graham and Montez Sweat. That's the only 5 players in 133 players in 12 years to have 10 or more sacks that played less than 50%. So you're telling me that now that you want to have this rotation. Mm-hmm. You don't think about rhythm. You don't think about setting up moves. You don't think about any of these other things that are important when you're rushing the passer.
Right.
Now, the second component to that is none of the guys have moves. Nobody has an arsenal of moves on the defensive end.
Whoops. Whoops. I mean, like, again, this goes back to what I was saying about you can tell a guy to give as much effort as he can possibly give. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't have the ability, it's not going to happen. And listen, for people who are just joining us, that's not to say that effort is not worth anything, but it matters on the field. And I'll qualify that by going back to what LaShawn McCoy said. When he was with the Eagles, it was easy. It felt easy. They had a bunch of playmakers on the team that made playing the game and winning the game and achieving the goal of getting W's easier. Mm-hmm. When you have the talent, when you have those players on your team who have the ability to dominate or be dominant or to make a play when the team really needs it, mm-hmm. it's just easy. And we've watched now for the last 3 years this team go toe-to-toe with the best teams in the league, and where certain areas of the game should have been easy for them, it just seems hard. Mm-hmm. Everything is gnashing of teeth and tooth and nail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. it's literally clawing through concrete for this offense. Mm-hmm. And a part of that is some of the stuff that we talked about last year when we first started the show, which was the building of the coaching staff that oversees the offense, mm-hmm. right? And how the guy, what's the guy's name? Mike Shula. Mm-hmm. Mike Shula is technically he's the liaison. He's the senior offensive assistant. And his job is to report back to Sean McDermott what's going on with the offense. Now, right. Brady is the offensive coordinator. Cool. Right? But up until last year when Brady took over, one of the things that the Bills have struggled to do, even with Daboll, and this is part of what makes me think it's a Sean thing and not an offensive coordinator thing. Mm-hmm. Even when Daboll was here, the team struggled to shift or adjust their game plan to what the defense was doing to the offense last year, over the last 6 years, mm-hmm. at halftime, I mean. And same thing for the defense. If the offense was doing something, Sean would meet with the person that, right before he goes into the locker room. Yeah, we just got to keep our heads down. We got to stay focused and stay focused. Yeah, they're running it down your throat.
We got to stay focused. We got to be more disciplined. We got to be. Yeah, I mean,
we just gonna gloss right over that one.
That's a known saying.
Yeah, that is a known football phrase. Oh my gosh, we don't have time for your AO shenanigans today. Okay.
Yo, he made something else though. That moment, I swear.
Yeah, that was
hilarious. Yeah. But no, you might. I don't know.
We might have to make a clip of that. That was
but
great.
Put on your thing. I was gonna double down on the fact. Now this is the kick. Last year, there were 4 teams better than us in sacks: Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami. Did you know there were only 17 players last year that had 5 or more sacks that played less than 50% of the snaps? 17 players with 5 or more sacks with 50% or less. Out of 58, 17 players with 5 or more. I mean, if you don't understand what that means even to get 5 sacks, you got to play.
Yep.
You got to play a lot. And this is defensive tackle, defensive end. I don't care what position you play. You got to play a lot. Maybe you don't have to play 90, 80, 70%, but you need to be 60 to 70% in that range, especially if you're a premier player. You got to have one. The Bills need to have one. And guess what? Out of all the Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami team, the one player with the 10 or more sacks plays in excess of 70% of the snaps. But the Bills, no, we're not going to do it. We're too cute. Leonard Floyd was the anomaly. At 47% snaps, he had 10.5 sacks. How? He ran against, what did he have? He had a couple games where he had multiple sacks in the beginning of the season, which would be the Sieves of Washington, the Sieves of Vegas. He feasted on those teams. Then we got to the end of the season, what happened? He disappeared. But I wonder why.
So I want to, my guy outside looking in says, as easy as it was for Philly, they never got that ring, not until it got hard for them, winning a ring with a backup QB and no shady versus the Pats. I want to read their offensive starters, and I'm going to read their defensive starters.
Which year are we going with?
2017 when they won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Offensive line alone. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, who was an all-pro right guard, Jason Kelce, all-pro center.
He is? I never heard of him before.
Right. Stefan Wisniewski
He was good.
was their left guard, and Vaitai was a young left tackle at that point. He was only 24 years old. I'm pretty sure that was his rookie year.
That's probably the only one I don't know.
Yeah, he might actually still be their left tackle. I think he's actually pretty good
Is he?
now, if I'm not mistaken. I got to check on that. But okay, tight end Zach Ertz, wide receiver Super Bowl winning Torrey Smith, other receiver Alshon Jeffrey, other receiver Nelson Aguilar, who's known to make a play from time to time. Oh, I don't know, catching that Super Bowl this basically Super Bowl nail in the coffin pass from Nick Foles, LeGarrette Blount, who was one of the more physically dominant running backs in the entire NFL.
Really forgotten guy too, because I definitely forgot about him.
Exactly. And then of course Nick Foles was the quarterback for that. So defensively, tell me if any of these players can make a game a little bit easier, right? Fletcher Cox.
He's decent.
Do we have anybody on the Bills squad that matches that level of play? No, I don't think so. I don't know. Nigel Bradham was a good linebacker when he was
don't
here.
say Nigel Bradham, man. Please don't say that name.
I mean,
that was my guy.
He was a hitter. He could make some
he was
plays.
nasty. He was nasty.
I don't know. I mean, Ronald Darby was a good man cover corner.
Where was he? Where was he before Philly?
He won a Super Bowl. I'm just saying.
What happened to him?
And then, of course, we forget about a 30-year-old Malcolm Jenkins playing free safety, who was a ball hawk and a playmaker and a solid leader for that defense. Mm-hmm. So they didn't have like a bunch of players on the defense, but their offense was lit.
And they had some crucial defensive players.
Right. Key defensive players in key positions that could make plays. Mm-hmm. Right now, I would probably give my right arm for a Fletcher Cox on this team.
Oh, 2017,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would listen. I might give a nut for that entire offensive line.
He meant like a peanut, a cashew.
No, I meant like one of my
testicles.
One of my testicles. I would give one for that offensive line. Are you kidding me?
It's a testiculi.
Testicular testiculi. What is testicles?
Testicles. Yes.
What's the testicles? Is what it is. Is what we're getting at. But yeah, so that's what I think Shady was talking about when you got. Rich said, "Pause, yo, a nut, bro."
that was good typing.
What? Is it?
What
am I supposed to call? I have to say testicle every time. I can't say nut.
I guess you can say gonad.
Okay, gonad is not bad. Do y'all prefer gonad? Let me know.
Okay, gonad's cool.
Okay. Hold on. He said
we got more votes.
He said read Shady's roster for comparison. So what year did Shady play? Shady played.
Oh, with Deshaun, with Macklin and Deshaun Jackson
them boys. Wait, no. So that was 2017. So we'll go back to 15. He was still there in 15, wasn't he?
Who's that? Shady?
Nope, he wasn't. DeMarco Murray was there. So let's go back to 30.
I got it. Let's see. What year you want to go to? Because his 14 was the last year in Philly.
So let's go to.
You want to go to his best year, 13, or you want to go to?
Yeah, I'm at 13 now. At 13 now. So it was LaShawn McCoy. They had Deshaun Jackson.
Macklin.
They had Jason Peters. Jason Kelsey was still there. Lane Johnson was still there. Todd Herremans was a very, very, very underrated guard. Very underrated guard. Solid pass blocker. Evan Mathis, underrated run blocker. Both of those dudes were old. Both of their guards were old. But the offensive line was still.
They had Matt Barkley as a backup? Man, yo, that's a lock. It's a wrap. Why are we even talking about this? They had Matt Barkley on the squad.
Oh,
Josh Allen said he's that dude. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, no.
I tried.
Defensively, though.
Michael Kendricks.
I mean, Connor Barwin, right. D'Amico Ryans.
Pat Chung.
Bradley Fletcher.
Brandon Boykin.
I mean, Patrick Chung was on that team.
Vinny Curry. Benny Logan. Brandon Graham. Casey Matthews.
It just gets easy at that point.
That's what Acho said. Acho said it, and not even Shady. Acho said, when Shady left, when Macklin left, when Jackson left, we realized it actually can be hard.
Right.
It could be hard when they're going. That talent is missing.
Yes, OLI. He said, so you want the Cox and you'll give up some nuts. That's damn right.
Yo. Yo, the face he just made, yo, the way it regurgitated, it came up real slow. Like, you're like,
we need a camera over there to catch his reactions on.
And I want to see it on my screen. I want to see it. I want to see his face.
You would never be able to focus. You would be sitting there watching for the thing I say.
He's doing it. He's doing it again. He's doing it again.
Yeah, I know. We do this just to mess with the producer. Just
we got to. We got to. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it. So
yeah,
I don't even know.
Thursday, I was just out there. I didn't know what was coming out of my mouth. Hey.
So yeah, I mean, you give us
you falling apart. So yeah. So all of this is to say. I think your point about the amount of time that our defensive line players are getting on the field. First and foremost, how in the world am I supposed to develop an in-game plan for the guy I'm going against if I haven't seen firsthand what he does? It's one thing to see something on tape. It's one thing to see a guy's tendencies, but it's a different thing to understand in the feel of the game what it looks like, what it feels like when you're trying to, when you're trying to swim, or when you're trying to what's the other pass rushing move?
You rip.
Yeah, when you're trying to rip.
Yeah.
So for me, if I was a pass rusher, I'm thinking in terms of, okay, let's just play it honest first down. It's almost like in baseball where as soon as you go up, you let the pitcher pitch. You know what I'm saying? You let him throw that first ball out there, and you see what he's trying to throw at you, right? You let it go. You never the way I was taught, and I played Little League all the way up through high school. The way I was taught, you never swing at the first pitch. You want to see what they're doing.
Is that the trick?
That's the trick.
That's why I suck. I was like, yo, I can hit.
No.
I can get no.
You got to see what they're doing.
I couldn't see the ball, so it didn't even matter.
So
it came to. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
I didn't know that was a thing where like you have to wait after the first pitch and you hit the second time.
Bro, I went to a game, and this is not even racist at all. I sat next to a dude from the Dominican Republic, and this is the Bison's game, and he broke down stuff in this game. And I'm like, yo, it's too much. I just want to see the pitcher throw it from there to there,
right? Hit
it somewhere. He's like, no, you got to hit it there, and I'm like, no, there's too much discipline involved. He's like, you see that little spin? That's a change. I was like, I can't remember this. I can't remember this.
Yeah.
It was too much. Yeah. So when I take kids to watch baseball, I'm like, yo, look at him throw it, watch him catch it or not. I don't know.
Right.
And that's it. That's all I got.
Outside looking in says easy doesn't equal a ring. You right. But here's the thing. With Josh Allen on this team and him being as good as he is, just imagine if it was easier for him. Like, can we just make it easy for him, where he don't have the whole world sitting on his shoulders. He don't have to go out there and win the entire game by himself. I mean, we've watched that every year, pretty much. Am I wrong? I mean, I've seen aside from 2020, I've seen very few games where it just looked easy for Josh Allen. I can point to a number of games offhand. The game against the Rams. In 2020, the game against the Steelers, the opening game the year after that. What else? What other games can you think of where it just seemed like it was just easy for Josh Allen? He didn't have to do much. The team played great. Maybe the Raiders game.
Well, it was the Raiders game this year. Was it the Commanders game? Where you said it was too boring. Whatever one it was, I
think you said the Raiders game was really boring. Yeah,
it was two in a row.
I did.
Yeah, it was 2 in a row. He said they're really extremely boring. Those
what
are
up, Chris?
Super simple.
Yeah.
The perfect game, obviously the Patriots game, playoff game. He could do no wrong.
Right.
But I mean, yeah.
The Dolphins game.
The Dolphins. Yeah.
He destroyed the Dolphins.
Do whatever. He just tossed it up, and whatever happens. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I want to see. For my team, I want to see dominant play. I want to see there's nothing the team can do to beat us. Like, we've seen the Chiefs look like that. We've seen the Patriots look like that. We've seen other teams in the league look dominant, like the Ravens. I mean, yeah, the Ravens didn't win the Super Bowl, but what I'm saying is We've got the kind of quarterback where if you just get, I'm going to take it back to Fletcher Cox, you get a player like that on your defense where it just makes it easier for everybody. You get 2 players like that on your defense and maybe one of those players on your offense, and you should be golden at that point. You get 2 playmakers on both sides of the ball. Usually that means you're gonna be a dominant team. And with the depth that the Bills have had all these years leading up to this year where they don't, that's something that should have happened. They had so many guys under rookie contracts and smaller contracts and longer tenure guys that were coming here just to try and win. But well, yeah, that's a good point. He said Bean would have to stop destroying the cap space first. That's a very good outside looking.
That's my buddy. You my buddy. You my boy, Blue.
Yeah.
And it's more, it's even more egregious when you think about the fact that the only person that he spent money on is the only guy that really can rush the passer, and he's injured. Then they want to get him out of Buffalo, but they gave him the Brinks truck. They backed up the truck to the Miller estate and said, "Here, have at it. Even if you give us money back, we still owe you way too much. So we can't do anything else." But that lends to it once again. Why did you draft Javon Solomon in the 5th round and nobody else?
That's a great question.
That's egregious.
That's a great question.
I don't get it. I mean, Javon Solomon, he's an excellent player, but at the same time, the best you could do is in 5th round. Yeah, that's the best you could. I just can't believe that's the best you could do.
Would you? Was there anybody available
earlier?
Well, I mean, Dwayne Carter was a 3rd round pick. They didn't. There was nobody available there that you would
take. Where was Chop Robinson? Chop Robinson went. He went lower than he was supposed to. I think he went.
Did Chop Robinson win the end of the 3rd, 4th? Oh, he went 2nd.
I believe him. I'm about to look it up now because I honestly I don't remember, but
I just remember him being out there for a minute.
He was out there,
kind of forgetting about him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
until you heard his name, it's like, oh, he's still out there.
That would have been a tough one to pull with if you really were sold on Coleman, just because of how they fell.
Okay,
but you have to at some point acquiesce this need for this need or this want for this need. And when an aging Von Miller that Buffalo wants to get out of Buffalo, they want to exercise this dude out of the city anyway. Yeah. You gotta give up on Coleman and get you a bona fide successor for that role. I for one want Von Miller to bring up the next guy. I want him to be there to show the mood because it ain't gonna be Rousseau.
Right.
And even if you don't trust my comrade over here, Eric, listen to the overreaction because Jerry Ostrowski and John Fina, they played what position? They played tackle. Mm-hmm. And they said watching the Bills last year was running up to the tackle and pretty much getting stuck. That was it. No moves, no counters, no attack. They said as an offensive tackle, that's a dream. It's a dream.
Yep. Okay, I want to get to this rumor from Lindsay, and then I want to get to this comment from outside looking in. Lindsay says, rumor has it, Buffalo might try to trade for Joey Bosa. I know it's slim to none, but I've seen more crazy stuff happen.
I saw that rumor, and I think that would be the nail in the coffin for McDermott and Bean if you ever did something
really?
Like that. Yeah.
Why nail in the coffin?
Because they're trying to get cheaper at defensive line, and Joey Bosa sets you back a few. And isn't he injured? Isn't he oft injured?
No,
I thought he was.
Not as often as you think.
Well, I'm saying he has like a $17 million cap hit. What is his cap hit? I gotta look it up now.
He was injured the year before last, but last year he was fairly healthy.
Yeah, because Bosa, I know he tore was it ACL? Not last year, but before.
Yeah, I think it was. ACL.
Let me see how many.
Okay.
Let me see how many plays he has out there, and it's not cooperating with me, but I'm gonna make it work.
Okay. Well, while you do that, I'll read this comment from outside looking in. He says, "I'd rather have Diggs than Von for that money, and I'm all in. Oh, I'm sorry, and I'm all Aggies all day. Diggs at least is on the field.
All Aggie all day.
Yeah.
Keep it real. Say it with your chest.
Diggs is at least on the field at that for that pay, and he gets doubled. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, you not getting any opposition over here,
right? I think that's one of the things that I think I would appreciate about having Joey Bosa here is. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Nick Bosa.
Yeah, Joey Bosa. Okay, Nick Bosa is the good one. Joey Bosa is the one from the Chargers.
Well, I mean, he's still good, but yeah, he is injured a lot,
and he's older now. He's the older brother.
Yeah.
He's 29. He's played.
This feels like a Trent Murphy trade.
Yeah.
You know
It
what I'm
really
saying? Like, and I know we didn't trade for Trent Murphy, but it feels like the Trent Murphy-ish type of player where the upside is definitely there. Obviously, Trent Murphy wasn't as great as Joey Bosa was, but
Yeah, no,
he's
he's had four of his 1, 2, 3, 8 seasons, 10 plus sacks. He's only played 16 games 3 times in his career.
what. Okay, so in only one of his first 4 seasons did I see there
What
that
you
he
got?
played 16 games?
Yeah. Two.
I'm sorry, 2 of his first 4 seasons he played. Okay,
He had 12 sacks in his second season and 11 and a half in his fourth season. And then he kind of hit the slides there.
interesting.
I mean, on the surface, Joey Bosa, what would the trade be? You're going to give up draft picks and being.
I don't think they would have to give up that much for him now.
No, but let me just take a look and see what his cap hit is. Lindsay, what do you got for me, Lindsay? What does Sue Zorman say? Show me the money. Show me the money.
Like, what did who say?
Show me the money. Susie Orman, the financial specialist here. Joey Bosa cap hit 26-1.
So that's a no for you?
Where you gonna find that at? That's a no for. Where are you gonna find that at?
Are you saying that's a no?
I've heard of overdrafting bank accounts, but I don't think they're gonna let you overdraft this much because that's still what 17 million over. I don't think it's gonna let you do it.
I mean, the cap is fluid. You know what I'm saying?
Here we
The
go
cap-
with this
it-
BS
it
again.
just works
The
some
cap
magic.
is fluid.
Just
So let's see
works
what he
some
is.
magic.
So you would have to extend him for sure. Okay, so he's a $36 million cap hit next year. Yeah, no, we're gonna table that one.
Yeah, but I mean, you can trade him and tear that up. Basically,
Well, you what?
you can trade him and tear that up. You can just restructure the
That's
contract.
the problem. I don't want to restructure this guy.
I mean, he's gonna be 30. You
Yeah,
got
so
you
you're
got to
gonna
do something.
What, 3 more years, 4 more years on there?
I don't want any more old guys. I don't.
That's one of my points too.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say it.
Huh?
I was waiting for you to get there. I was waiting for you to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for building through the draft. I think the very few teams, and the Eagles were one of those exceptions, and it took like really miraculous plays for them to win that game against the Patriots. But very few teams do we see buy their players and then go win a Super Bowl. Right? I mean, the Rams.
And they what happened the year after they won? I mean, yeah. If
Exactly.
you're looking at winning one time and being excited about it forever, do that.
Well, I am.
I know you are.
I am.
But I
Like
mean,
at this point now, I think I might take that just because if Sean wants to keep his job, he needs to figure something like that out. I don't know of too many teams other than the Bengals and the Steelers who've kept their head coach for a very long period of time without winning a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just that doesn't happen. And I think the only reason Mike Tomlin is still around is because he won two Super Bowls.
because he's Mike Tomlin. They're like, I mean, whatever. No,
Or one. I think he won one.
I mean, I get it, but I don't think I have loyalty to. I know you don't, so that's not where I'm not going with what you said. But I don't care. I can care less what keeps Sean his job. I want long-term viability, and like they're talking about the Trevor Lawrence contract. They say Doug Peterson signed that contract off because if he doesn't pan out, they're fired and it's somebody else's problem. Guess what? I don't get a chance to let it be somebody else's problem because the Bills will still be my team, and I still got to watch this train wreck.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Oh my gosh, Roy said if Bean trades for Bosa, he needs to be fired. Man.
That's one.
Man.
That's one.
Okay.
Well, that's two. Party of two.
It depends. Okay, Roy, let me ask you this. If they only traded a 5th round pick for the dude and they had a chance to restructure his contract and get him on the team and extend his contract for another year or 2 or something like that. So you got him for 3 years, you only gave up a 5th round pick, you wouldn't do that? You still wouldn't do that?
I don't want no part of them. I don't want no part of them.
A 5th round pick is
I get
not
that.
much. It's not much.
It's not the pick. You can give them whatever pick you want.
Nah,
It's
Billy Williams says make it happen.
Billy? Okay, Billy D.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Colt 45.
What?
All right, I gotta get my boys. I gotta get
Don't-
Silky
Don't
Velvety
let
when
him
he
do
get on
that
there.
to you, Billy. Don't let
I
him
gotta
do that
get
to you.
Silky Velvety when he hit it. Colt 45. All right.
So let me ask you this. Because I've heard you say long-term viability, right? Does that mean to you, Super Bowls every year?
No.
Being in the Super Bowl every year?
That'd be silly. I mean,
Well, I
if I
mean-
wanted to really be presumptuous, yeah, but no, that's too
Okay.
much to ask. No,
Well,
that's
so
just not. What do I mean when I say that?
yes.
Okay, so if you're telling me right now, and I'm not saying you are, but if you're telling me right now, we win in 2024, and then we're like the Rams after that, we're dumpster juice for all intents and purposes for 5-6 more years. That would be tough. Obviously, you're not going to be able to look that far in the future, but I mean, I think if we could get to a point where I say viable, where we win a Super Bowl and we come back down to earth who we are right now, which is a playoff team, which is a team that has the potential to contend every year. That's what I want. That's when I say viability. I'm not talking about a team that has to win every year
Now,
or go every year.
You're trying to say Super Bowl contender every year or playoff contender every year?
Super Bowl contender. So
Okay.
even like right now, we're a Super Bowl contender, right?
Not
Finger
this
quotes.
year.
Well, finger quotes. Super Bowl contender. And people put us in that. They put us in that category where the Bills are in top 4 or 5. I don't ever want to drop from after we win the Super Bowl to going to 19th, 20th in power ranking.
Oh, I'm sorry. That just reminded me. So according to the source I was talking to, this
Ooh, I like this.
this prominent Bills alumni has the Patriots winning the division. He's got
Tell
the
Doug Flutie to
Bills.
go away. No,
He's got the Bills finishing 3rd in the division.
I heard that. A couple people said that. They think the Jets and
No, he's
Well,
talking
not
about
the
Miami.
Patriots.
He's talking about Miami.
well, no, I'm saying,
the-
yeah, it's usually the Jets and the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins, yeah.
That are, Patriots
he
still,
think-
they say they're dumpster juice, but
Yeah,
you know how I feel
he
about the
loves what the Patriots have done, and he's also like he knows Gerard Mayo, so he knows.
you know how I feel about the Patriots. When we talk about who we're afraid of, that's the team that I have to see.
Yeah.
But they have the potential, especially with Gerard Mayo, a new guard up there. I don't know, But to get back into the Bills, no. If you're telling me right now, if we're trading for a guy, if you're giving somebody $26 million restructured, and I want somebody younger. I want to restructure to where he can be let out of his contract by the age of 30, and somebody with some kind of productivity. I want somebody that has the sustained sacks and snaps, rather.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you like where the team is now as a result of long-term viability? Because this team has been good since 2017.
Well, that's, obviously, I like where they are if I'm just trying to be a playoff team, if I'm just trying to be a contender. I don't believe this team is going to make the Super Bowl. And that's to your answer, no, I don't like where we are because they're not going to get to the goal I want them to get to.
So how many of the last 6 years? 24, yeah. So how many of the last 6 years do you think the Bills were Super Bowl contenders? Legitimate.
True?
Yeah, legitimate Super
I don't think they ever were.
Really?
I don't think they ever were.
Wow.
True. I mean, this is
National media was
I know this is the I guess non-homerism in me, but I just
Okay.
I think they had glaring holes in places that teams that win bowls don't have holes. When you come down to even the last 4 years with Diggs, it was always Diggs and who. On defense, it was like who's going to make a play.
Right.
On defensive line, you don't have a pass rush.
Right.
You keep getting beat by the same team over and over and over again, and you don't do what you need to do to correct it. You do what you need to correct it within your parameters of what you know. But where's that bendy, twitchy guy that we never had? I wanted Jerry Hughes, what do you call it? Enhanced.
Yeah.
Not Von Miller. I'm sorry, not
No,
Gregory
you're right,
Sall.
Von Miller.
Well, no, Von Miller, had he not gotten hurt with the 8.5 sacks or whatever he had, perfect. He would have had 12 sacks probably that season, maybe something like that.
it would've
Just to
been
be
fair.
safe.
I'd give him 10.
Yeah, at least 10.
Yeah.
And that would have been a perennial thing had he not gotten hurt. But after that, who on the defensive run defense?
Yeah.
Who? Because
because Roy is saying they were a true Super Bowl contender 3 years ago. So 3 years ago would have been which Super Bowl? 3 years ago would have been the Rams. So he has to be talking about.
Is that 13 seconds? It's
Yeah,
gotta be 13 seconds.
Yeah, it's got to be 13 seconds.
Yeah, I don't see it.
They would have had to go play Cincinnati, or no, Cincinnati would have had to come here, and we would have had to have beaten them to get to the Super Bowl to play against the Rams.
Yeah, that was the closest. That was the year I thought we could have done it.
I think we could have beaten the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure.
Yeah. It's just like the Nuggets when they played Minnesota. I was like, okay, that's the worst draw we could have.
Right.
And sometimes it's about matchups. And the thing is, the Bills, and we talked about it, the Bills put all their eggs in the basket to beat Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, you don't play Kansas City every year. You don't play Kansas City every week.
Right.
So when you got to play against a team that's completely different than Kansas City, what's going to happen? You get destroyed, and we saw it.
Tennessee got in your way a couple of times when you were trying to get the number 1 seed and solidify that position to be able to have the advantage. I mean, there's going to be teams like that ruin the mix. The Ravens are that team. The Texans are that team this year. I mean, you still got some of the unknowns. I mean, the Chargers have enough of a roster with what Jim Harbaugh likes to do to be able to present some danger. I mean, Jim Harbaugh had, the last time he was in the league, he had the 49ers 4 points away from winning a Super Bowl. They were on the 4-yard line, if I'm not mistaken, with a chance to win that game. So, and he did it with Colin Kaepernick. Not that Colin Kaepernick's bad, but we've seen some years out of Colin Kaepernick that are like, is he ever going to get to that point?
Right.
But all of that is to say, every single year there's going to be a new dark horse team that's coming out of the woodwork to get in the way of what the Bills are trying to do. And that's why it needs to be a situation where the Bills understand who they really are. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop sniffing yourself and feeling yourself and all that and thinking you the ish, and start to really take a look around the league and see who teams are building their teams to beat. Because it wasn't the Bills. It was the Chiefs the whole time.
And that's the thing. I mean, the national media always says the Bills, but most of them didn't believe the Bills were actually going to do it. Yeah, the Bills have the talent for it, but there's always been something missing. One player away. They always rely on one person. It's still evident. You rely on Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen needs to chill out. He needs to understand he has 10 other guys on the field with him sometimes. But at the same time, he does that. Why?
Right.
Because he doesn't trust anybody.
Right.
Steph goes down. Gabe Davis, not throwing him the ball. Trent Sherfield, next. Deontay Hardy, man, let me just sit down. Let me just get out of here. I turn around and I got Latavius Murray and I got Damian Harris. Man, watch out. What is this? Where's Dawson now? Oh, he's hurt too. Okay, so who's out there?
Yep.
And that's what playoff and Super Bowl and championship teams don't go through. There's always the next guy. Obvious by day. Travis Kelce beat the Niners? No. MVS and Mecole Hardman and Isaiah Pacheco, they had other guys.
Right.
We don't.
Right. I want to get to this comment before.
Go ahead.
So Roy says about the Joey Bosa thing. He goes, "You're fired. Way too much for an aging, often injured defensive end, bruh."
Bruh.
What do you think Von Miller is?
Well, you got no argument there.
What? Like, we gave the man $100 million. He stopped being the guy the year before he went to the Rams. The only reason he didn't go to the Rams the year before was because he was hurt.
But you can always be the guy in Buffalo. That's the point.
Right. That is such a great point. It's not even funny. In Buffalo, don't matter where you came from, in Buffalo, you can be the guy.
You can be the guy.
That's the culture that the fans are allowing the team to keep going in the city. Mm-hmm. It's not their fault. It's ours. Mm-hmm. We keep telling them by spending our money, it's okay whatever you're doing because I just want something to root for on Sundays. My standards are way higher than that. I want a dominant team. Damn it, I want a 20-year run. Can I have that? Can I have the Patriots' reign of dominance? Can I have the Steelers' reign of dominance? Can I have the 49ers? Can I have the Cowboys' reign of dominance?
I think Drake made a song about this. Now you speaking the language.
Listen, there comes a point. There comes a point where you reach a level of being good, And at that point, you have two choices. I can choose to try and be better, and that starts with me thinking about being better first. Or I could just be happy and chill where I'm at. Maybe my standards aren't that high. Maybe I'm just happy being in the playoffs every year.
The status quo.
Listen, if that's who you are, this might not be the platform for you.
I mean,
this might not be the show for you.
No, honestly, even if that's who you are, I'm good with that. However, I'm not good with that personally. I'll have a conversation with anybody that feels that way.
Right, and that's what I mean, because I'm not gonna I can't placate to that. That's one of the things that bothers me the most is just being happy with making the playoffs. I look around the league on a daily basis and see how serious these other teams are about winning. You can see it in the moves they make. You know what? If Ken came home one day, let's say Ken is Junie's age, and, you know, he getting ready to go to bed, and you be like, all right, Ken, love you, son. And he'd be like, love you too. Is that going to make you feel like he's serious about
Something wrong. Yeah, something wrong. Got to go have a conversation.
So what if he came home one day and it looked like something was wrong? And you don't say nothing right away. You just kind of watching, see what he does. You know, he kind of wandering around the house, ain't really doing too much. He ain't playing games like he usually do, or he ain't, you know, watching the show like he usually enjoy, or, you know, he just kind of just seems like, you know, just in a daze. You know what I'm saying? You would think something's wrong with him, right? What if you go to ask him, son, you all right? You good? Oh, yeah, I'm good. What do you think at that point?
He ain't good.
He ain't good, right? But he's telling you he is, right? So there's something to be said about body language, right? Body language matters. Never mind what you say in the press conference. What you do matters. That's what I'm trying to get to at the end of the day. That's the below the surface thinking that I apply to this team, because there's no angle of this that I can consider, and I've considered a lot. There's no angle of this where I can look at and land on and say, okay, you know what? I didn't think about that, but that's gonna work.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, if you have to think too hard about why they're doing what they're doing it wrong.
That's a good point.
That's we have all these shows. Well, I think the Bills are doing this. This is why the Bills did. No, because it's painstakingly obvious why the Ravens do what they do, why the Chiefs do what they do. Why, even if it doesn't make sense, it's a track record. It fits in like a puzzle piece. And chances are they're fighting for a starting spot. They're not coming in and being thrusted. Even Keon Coleman, I'm sorry, he's the X. You didn't even see him put his helmet on yet. How do you know he's an X?
Right.
Only in Buffalo.
Right. For those of you just joining us, this conversation started with us talking about the Buffalo Bills defensive line. We had some breaking news on that. The breaking news for you guys just tuning in was, according to one of my sources, a prominent Buffalo Bills alum was at OTA's mandatory minicamp and saw what the defense was doing and just started shaking his head and saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right? He then goes on to talk about the issue he had with the size of the linebackers. He thinks, he likes the scheme, but he thinks in the scheme, the team could afford to have bigger, more athletic linebackers that can still play fast. They're just bigger and probably a little bit stronger and more adept at handling their responsibilities against the run, which is something that I've said before, and I know you've seconded before when we were talking about what Tremaine Edmonds could be and ended up not being in the long run. And then this Bills alum, when I asked my source, so did he say any of this to Sean? My source confirmed, yeah, he did. And Sean's response when the Bills alum went and said this to him, they were kind of, standing side by side watching what was going on with the defense. And, Sean was listening and just kind of, shaking his head and didn't really say much at all. Just kind of like a, yeah, okay. Yeah, and not even in a yeah, okay, I'm gonna prove you wrong type of way, but just kind of in a I don't really know what to say to that.
I'm just curious what day did he go on? Do you know what day the source went or the player went?
The Bills alum?
Yeah.
I don't have that date. No.
Only reason I say that is because this is the first, maybe the second time McDermott had 3 days, all 3 days of his mandatory minicamp. Usually he lets them go on that third day. Why is it this year? And then when they asked him, he said, "We got a lot of work to do." It's crunch time now because guess what? You exhausted your financial resources. You're running out of time for trying out people, and you got training camp coming up. So you better hope somebody falls through the cracks or somebody that really pops in a way that you didn't see them popping, because your luck is going to run out at some point of falling into these players. Christian Benfords, people like that.
I'm sorry.
What did I say?
Y'all gonna stop trying to guess my sources. I'm not giving these dudes up.
I'm gonna say, did I say Ayo moment? I ain't even know.
No.
I didn't even know.
You're right. He would have been all over it.
He was like, I didn't even know.
No, because outside, like I'm listening to you talk, and I always peek at the comments to see if anything pops up. And outside looking in, it's like, did this player play with Pittsburgh too? I'm like, no.
Was it Levi?
You're right, exactly. And now Laura's like, Bruce Smith? Now I want to guess. Like, no, stop guessing.
You can guess
I'm not telling nobody.
I don't even know who it is, so I made sure you didn't tell me just so y'all can ask me.
Right, plausible deniability. There you go. That's what we do in this piece. I'm sorry. Please continue.
No.
You want to get to this comment?
Sure, because I don't know what I said now.
Okay, I apologize.
It's okay. It's good.
So we got really backed up with comments. Senki Chandler, welcome to the show. I don't think we've talked to you before.
Haven't formally met.
And please let me know if I'm saying that right, if I'm saying the name right. He says, I lost faith in Bean when he kept Miller and Hamlin. If you don't say yes while I'm nodding my head.
Well, you can't.
Why?
Can't. You can, but you can't. Who am I? What do I think about? Money, right?
Oh, God.
They painted himself into a supreme corner with Miller. Hamlin, whatever.
True.
But
true.
The financial ramifications, that's why this Diggs thing was just egregious.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you had a mind to get rid of him and just eat the dead cap, why not do that with Von Miller? Like, and here's
they
the
just
other
hated Diggs more.
Well, okay.
They hated him more.
You're right. They had to have, because their distaste was Sean's distaste for him. It was heavy.
It was healthy.
Yeah. Sean's distaste for Diggs.
Wait. It was thick.
What?
Thick. It was thick.
Thick. My daughter started saying that out of nowhere. Yeah, she started. I forgot what she was talking about. She was like, it was like some kind of food or something like that, and she was like squishing it up because she was getting ready to throw it. It was peanut butter. Yeah. She was like thick peanut butter, and Judy freaked out. I was like, what? So now she does that to him too when we at home.
Hey, Judy, it's thick.
Right.
He gonna knock my hat off.
So the distaste for Diggs was pretty prominent, but I had a hypothesis back when the Von Miller domestic violence stuff came out that some of that might have been Sean also, because of what Von had said and how some of the reports in the Tyler Dunn report were from current and past Bills players, right? Mm-hmm. People talk in that building.
I mean, we mentioned it ad nauseum before the Tyler Dunn even came out. We talked about how Von Miller alluded to, I'm on this side. Like, this side.
Yes.
Who's the other side? What's the sides? Who's on what side? You know, right. And that just opened up a Pandora's box for people that really paid attention.
Yep. So Tyler Dunn report comes out. Then all of a sudden, miraculously, we got a Von Miller scandal going on. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed a little too, easy to connect the dots on that, right? But again, that would have been a very easy time for them to justify taking the cap hit. But they didn't do it. Why? It doesn't make sense.
Now this is the egregious part. What did we get for Steph Diggs? Can you refresh my memory?
Oof.
Was it?
It wasn't a first round pick.
Was it a fourth?
I think it was. It's a conditional, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. We gave up Diggs and hold on, I gotta look it up now because we gave up Diggs and a draft pick. I can find it pretty quickly.
I was like, look at this, and me and Laura gonna figure it out. No worries. Yeah, okay.
No, you're not. He's good.
Roy said a second round pick.
Okay, so we got a second round pick for Diggs in a fourth. So, or no, Diggs in a sixth. So, this is my bag. Why couldn't they have waited until June 1st? Because you wait for June 1st, you could have split his cap hit up. You're telling me right now you really wanted to absorb a $31 million hit in one season? You wanted to?
Well, the way Bean says it, they rolled it around in their minds a little bit, and they felt it was more beneficial. I think he actually did say that it was more beneficial to just eat it.
Yeah,
all,
eat
it
all albatross, all that. Yeah, man, look out! You gave Trey White.
Yeah, I felt that one coming. I'm like, I better close this one off before he gets in.
I caught myself like 3 times. I don't even know. You gave Trey White the June 1st designation.
Yep.
Whatever. Trey White was only $17 million. You split it in half, but you really ate $31 million. Mm-hmm. You ate $31 million. What not to play.
Refresh my memory. What would have been the cap hit for Von Miller the last year?
Last year,
2023.
I don't know if I can find
I just want to see how you know what I mean, because $31 million that sounds like what it would have been for Von.
Last year's cap hit. No, he would have been 2023. Dead cap would have been $40 million.
It's $9 million more.
That's $9 million more, but then you would have to absorb Stephon Diggs, and they cut him too, or when they did whatever they did with him too.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think if they did cut Von Miller, they wouldn't have given up Steph Diggs. I can't see him giving up both.
I think they wanted Diggs. That's why I say they hated him more. They wanted him going.
Right.
I don't care who they are. They wanted him going. And when I say they, that's the whole front office, because we know McDermott didn't like him. We don't know. We hear Josh had something to do with Josh didn't have. I don't even care anymore.
Right.
The fact of the matter is he's gone.
Right.
And we don't have $30 million. So next year we have some money. What are you going to do with it? I mean, you could finagle, but see, to do this, you have to finagle and get somebody to buy in and take in more money in years to come, as opposed to now, which is going to be a tough sell, especially guys that have suitors elsewhere, and people don't understand. You could do that. People want them. There's a market for them. Mm-hmm. So you got to put your best foot forward. You can't just say, "Oh, we're the Bills. We can go grab." No, you can't do it. Only on Madden. Right. Where you can boost these things and change. It doesn't work like that in real life, and we've seen that over and over again.
You know what I just thought about? Well, remembered. Anyway, there's a side of this too that 30 he would have been 32 last year. Von Miller
years old?
No, 34. He was 34 last year. So 34-year-old Von Miller coming off of fresh off of an ACL. Mm-hmm. Don't think there's much trade value there. I don't think they would have been able to trade him.
No, they had to cut him.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Usually, so with cuts and trades, you can designate either one of those post June or pre June, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I mean, it would have been the same essentially, but.
If they wanted to do something, they could have did something, but they didn't.
Right.
Instead, they went ahead and restructured them and pushed money down the line.
Yeah.
And that's what they keep doing. They keep doing this, like we said earlier, with Bosa. Older players. I don't mind having one or two, but like you said even earlier, you can't buy a championship. You can, but how often does it work? It does, and I don't trust them to buy the right pieces to put the.
Yeah, that's the weird thing too. It's like when they signed Hyde and Poyer, they weren't household names, right? But they worked out, and. Who else did they sign? They signed Hyde, they signed Poyer, and then they signed.
You talking about that same year?
Was it that same year? Those might have been the best guys they signed, but I mean, it just early on it seemed like they were better at signing players from other teams than they were drafting.
We have money.
Well, I know that matters
money.
too, but yeah, from like let's go look at the draft from. Because what are we saying? 2017 was probably their best draft, right? You don't think so? 2017, we still got
Because so 18 was Josh, 17,
Deion
17 was Dawkins,
Trey White.
Milano, Vallejo. Who was the wide receiver? Zay Jones.
That has to be the best draft. It has to be.
I think 22 was better.
20 who?
22 is well.
Well, we don't know, but you talking about James Cook and the boys?
Yeah, James Cook. It was Elam, Cook, Benford. Who else? Somebody help me out.
So here's I think I know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why I say 2017 was better.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was just 3 of those players are Pro Bowl level players. Now, I know I'm showing Deion Dawkins a little bit of love by saying that, but that's the truth of the matter. Right, I can speak facts, but I look at where James Cook is, where Elam is, where Benford is. They're starters. If they do reach that Pro Bowl level, absolutely. Right? Was Terrell Bernard part of that draft?
Yes.
No. Was he?
Which one? The 22 one?
Yeah, no, he was the year before, wasn't he?
I think he was. Let me find it.
Yeah, you got to find it. Yep. While you do that, I'll read this comment from Sinke. He says, but also they say Diggs was getting clamped by Elam. I hope he breaks out because Ridley had him on skates.
Wait, Diggs was doing what?
They also say Diggs was getting clamped by Elam. So when we were talking about the preference between cutting Diggs and cutting Von Miller.
When was he getting clamped by Elam? Because Elam
in practice.
Nah, he had Elam looking silly. He was
this
talking
year or
mess
last year?
He was talking mess. You're talking about. This was last year.
Yeah, last
yeah.
year.
He was making Elam look bad. And that was him talking. That's when he was jaw jacking with Elam. He wanted to fight him because he hit him. He closed out of bounds. Remember that? Diggs was like he threw the ball and he wanted to fight him.
Yes.
Yeah, that was no. He did not get clamped by Elam.
So he was just extra handsy.
Yeah. Yeah. Bernard was 22.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, dang, that's a good point. Outside looking in, that's a good point. He said 20. I'm surprised you didn't bring this up because Whaley was your boy. He said 2017 wasn't Bean's draft, so 22 was Bean's best draft, I guess. You're right.
Oh, you said Bean. I'm thinking about McDermott. I was just thinking about the Bills in general in this time period. But yeah, if you're going by that, it's definitely 22.
Yeah, I mean, did I say Bean specifically?
I don't think so. And that's the thing. You may have, and I missed it. I was thinking about McDermott's era.
Yeah, I just be flying through thoughts when I'm up here talking. Anyway, so I want to get to this comment. White Towns King says, I think y'all are being a little hard on McBean. We're in this position because we stretched the roster 1 year too long. Everyone knew that last year's team wasn't Super Bowl caliber.
Who said that?
White Towns King.
Okay, and you know what, and I think you're right, but ask yourself why they stretched the roster. How did they stretch the roster? They kept restructuring because they knew they wanted to keep Josh, obviously, and they knew without pushing all these contracts down the road, you couldn't re-sign Josh for not even fair market value.
Yeah.
So you're right in the sense that we can say that the money is a problem. We can say that they kept him a year too long, but you had to. Because of the contract constraints. If you're looking at Diggs and a $30 million cap hit, what would Von Miller have been? We just said $40 million. Right. Trey White was 17 split in half. You get rid of these other guys, your dead cap is ridiculous. You can't even fill the football team.
Right.
But why is that? I've been yelling for young talent for the longest time.
Yeah.
But you really can't do it because of the people that they bought. They keep buying players that don't, and you don't even know who they buy because Tim Settle. And then they restructured them.
Right.
And then
B minus guys and bring them in here. All right, we want you to play at an A+ level because we believe in you.
Jordan Phillips.
Okay.
Shaq Lawson. These guys that keep bringing in. What is Shaq Lawson here for when you got Greg Rousseau?
Right.
That's what he's supposed to be doing.
When did they let Shaq Lawson go?
He was gone after his first year with McDermott, so I think 18. So
right. You knew immediately you didn't want that guy,
right.
And then by the way, you can come back. Why?
We tried to replace him with the guy in Epinesa. We didn't really believe in him, so we didn't play him. So we went and got Greg Rousseau, and we don't know about that. So let's double down, get Basham.
Epinesa kept jumping off sides. I know that was his problem early on.
So let's go get Rousseau and Basham to fix that. And I don't know. Let's go get Shaq Lawson back again. How many times? 3 times? 2 times? So that's the problem that I have with McBean. And trust me, I like the Bills players. I think I'm more loyal even than my com right here. But when is enough enough?
Right. I'm trying to figure out which order I should get to these comments in. Okay, so Steve, I don't know how long you've been on, but the breaking news was talked to one of my sources yesterday, and there's a prominent Bills alum that was at OTAs and mandatory minicamp and looked at what the players on defense were doing, namely the defensive line and linebackers, and just was shaking his head saying, man, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right? And when he then, I'll just shorten the story a little bit. He then did go and say this to Sean and ask Sean, like, what are we doing? The linebackers are small. They can't defend the run. The defensive line isn't. It's almost as if they don't want to cover their gaps. And that was like probably the biggest criticism that came out of that conversation. And as Sean is hearing this, he's just kind of nodding his head and not really saying much in defense of what he was doing, what he had on the field and what his players were doing. The conversation just kind of got left there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not really sure what the motivation for Sean not saying anything was. I just know he didn't really say much in defense of his team.
I mean, he probably, honestly, this is not even funny. He probably just didn't respect the comment. So he's like, I'm
That's
not going
true.
to justify it because I don't respect it.
Well,
who are you?
Probably because most people around Sean don't have the balls to go up to him and say stuff like that.
Right. This guy's not on the payroll. You see what you want. And he's like,
Exactly.
who are you? And that's the kick. And that's the sickening point. Just looking here, Ed Oliver is our leading sacker. He's been on the teams in 2019. He's got 24 sacks. Epinesa 15 and a half. Rousseau 17 sacks in his career. This is not good enough.
No.
It's not good enough.
No, I mean, the team is finding out this year that culture was never more important than getting players on this team that can win.
Yeah.
And that's really the truth that's being brought out in this situation now is culture is cute. It's cute when your team is not winning. Mm-hmm. It's cute.
Yeah.
It sounds great when you got a new guy coming in. We're going to establish a culture here. We're going to get good guys in the locker room, and we're not going to. I mean, consider the history that the Bills have gone through. Zay Jones jumping out a window naked. I know he didn't jump out the window, but you're right. You got that happen. You got the Marshawn Lynch situation. You got, you know what I mean? You got Marcel Darius drag racing and getting arrested. I mean, there's just there's things like that kind of open the door for a faux savior to come in and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna fix everything for you. I'm gonna make it all better. Yeah. You're so desperate at that point to have anything different from where you've been, where you just welcome it with open arms, right? Yeah.
You look at a lot of the guys that play in this league, and I don't want to condone it, but some of the best players have gang affiliation. Some of the best players have checkered past. Some of the best players are not the nicest people to deal with, but they win.
Right.
You have to roll the dice. You have to, you got to pick your poison.
Yep.
And they just won't. They keep going with the same kind of player. And maybe one day they'll hit. Khalil Shakir might go for 120 receptions and 1,800 yards a season. Probably not, but I mean, it could happen. You're like, I told you.
Right.
It's too rare. It doesn't happen that often.
Right. Outside looking in says no. So you should know me well enough by now. Outside looking in, my whole thought process is Sean is the one picking the players. Sean is the one going and telling Bean to say, and I know you can point to what happened in the draft this past year and say that it's a little bit different. Yeah, this year, but from what I was told from 2018 up until this draft here, it's been Sean is dictating what he wants, and Bean figures out how to go get it. Mm-hmm. That's the way that it was told to me from people inside the building, right? So I don't want it to be misconstrued. The whole draft criticism is a judgment on Bean. I like Bean. Mm-hmm. I like what he's tried to do in spite of what Sean has done. You know what I'm saying? And I think what we've seen this year in the draft is another case of Bean trying to make things work in spite of what Sean is trying to. You know what I'm saying?
Like 24 was an excellent draft. We haven't seen them play yet, but I think they have the potential to be that draft that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Cinque. I'll just say Cinque. Cinque says Cam Lewis was a head scratcher, but let go Dane. Yeah, that one was confusing to me too. You keeping Cam Lewis at safety, but you let Dane Jackson go. Dane Jackson could have been a safety and probably a much better one than Cam Lewis.
You gonna leave Cam Lewis out your damn mouth? You gonna leave Cam? Keep his name
Cam
out your
Lewis.
mouth. Nah, I mean, you know where they stand with Cam. Cam plays everything. Now he plays special teams. He plays nickel. He plays outside. He plays. He plays every position that you can think of. So
but does he play it well though? Like,
yeah,
he
I
can
think
stand out there and run around and make it look good.
No, I think he's a very good cornerback. I think he definitely is a good special teams player.
Okay.
The safety, we haven't seen enough of him. We played safety next to Jaquan Johnson and who is it, Damar Hamlin. So,
right. But he's another guy that didn't play safety in college.
He played boundary in college.
Right. So stuff like that is stuff that I point to and say, this is why you think the Gable Steveson move was okay, because you got Cam Lewis out there, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to stop Justin Jefferson from catching the ball.
Why we got to bring that play up?
Because it's the biggest highlight of Cam Lewis's career.
Not true.
What?
Not
Name
true.
a bigger play.
That's not a highlight. That's a low light. Disqualified.
Same difference.
No.
Same difference.
Disqualified.
It is the most recognizable and memorable point of his whole entire career as a football player, right there. That's it.
Nah.
What?
Nah.
Name one other thing.
Let me think.
Yeah. No, that's what you say when you about to lie to your girl. Hold on, let me think. No, you can't. No, I'm not giving you no time.
The fumble force. That was a good play. 2021, the fumble force. Yeah, you remember that?
What fumble force?
He had one.
You're going based off the stats now.
My voice is cracked for no apparent reason.
Did he blitz and have a tackle for loss?
He had 4 blitzes in his career. He got a 4.5 missed tackle percentage, which is good.
Steve corrected me. He said Tim Settle is a C-, not a B-.
You said B- for Tim Settle?
I said B- for Tim Settle. Well, because I watched him play in Washington, and he was actually good on that defensive line.
I would have thrown a flag on that player. I didn't see the penguin dance, so I'm not happy about Tim Settle at all.
You missed it. We got a bunch of comments that just flew in.
Go ahead.
Here. Laura says,
only read the ones about Cam Lewis, though.
Huh?
Only read the ones about Cam Lewis.
I don't think we have any. You know why? Because people don't respect him. No, I'm
rude.
Laura says, I don't know. We have Milano, Bernard back, Daquan, Rousseau, and Benford healthy. I'm not worried about defense. Am I crazy? Don't answer that.
Let me ask you this, Laura. Who's behind them? So we're assuming they're going to play all 17 games. If anybody goes down like we saw last year, who's behind them? I mean, I don't really want to hear about Deshaun Williams. I don't want to hear about Austin Johnson, because they're just guys. They're just guys. You want to talk about Dorian Williams and Ulofacio. Dorian Williams did not play well at all last year. And Ulofacio is a big question mark. Baylon Spector can't stay healthy. Joe Andreessen from UB, love to see him on the practice squad, but he's not a viable option. So you really are thin in some of the needy positions. The position that we know we have a propensity for injury. Matt Milano, I'm sorry, but you've been injured a lot now. Who's your succession plan? Who's behind you? Do we have to scramble and try to find an A.J. Klein or a Nick Moreau or a Deion Jones? We have to try to bring them up when and if one of those guys gets hurt. What about in the back 5? What are we going to do with, like you said, Cam Lewis? Is he going to play safety and cornerback? We're only going to hold, 5 cornerbacks, maybe 6 cornerbacks? Right. We play a nickel. That in itself is 3 on the field. So then what? Jamarcus Ingram? You really want to go that route? Let them start again? I love them, but I don't want that to be the answer now, and that's my problem. These are our answers now when we had a chance to fix them or at least try. I mean, everybody talks about Corey Couch. Everybody talks about what's the name? Ken I Lovely, Ken I H. Well, however you say his name. Everybody talks about these guys, but they're not viable. They were undrafted for a reason. Until you show me otherwise, you're a practice squad player. So to Laura's point, yeah, I'm not worried if those guys play, but can I really rely on them playing even 15, 16 games this year? And that's my question.
Right. Man, I don't know. This might be a tough one. So, next comment was Columbus Bully saying, remember our Doug Whaley drafts, and he put the clown face up there. Tell me what you think about this 2014 draft. Sammy Watkins, Cyrus Quangio, Preston Brown, Ross Cockrell, Cyril Richardson, who should have gotten a chance. Chantrell Henderson was a 7th-round pick. Randall Johnson never got a chance.
He played well when he got a chance. Yeah.
Right.
Chantrell was a starter for a few games.
Preston Brown was out of position. He should have been a strong side linebacker.
Yeah, he was out of position.
Not a middle.
He played well enough where he was. I think we talked about it before. I think for Willie, he wasn't like you saw in that Bills Embedded, where he said, "Oh, you want Van Brand Granger? No, we're going Ray Davis." He said, "What do you want?" Okay, I'm gonna get you what you want. I'll get it. Don't worry about it. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'll get it. And this draft is indicative. You wanted a wide receiver for your second year quarterback, Sammy Watkins. Now we got Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods. Who was gonna look me in the face on draft night and tell me Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods would not have been a dynamic duo? Who? I'll wait. Draft night. Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, EJ Manuel. What was his strength? His weakness is what? Accuracy. Sammy Watkins. He was a man that made things happen. He was a short man. He was a short guy that took things long. He was a guy that was Eric Moles. That was him in college. He got to the league, sucked. Let's see, who was it? Preston Brown. Yeah, he was all right. He was good. Cyrus Quanjo. Didn't really like that pick. The 2014 draft, that's batting along the same lines as 2000. What did we say? 2000.
Well, I'll put it like this. I think all of Buffalo was so excited to have Sammy Watkins that nobody even paid attention to anybody else they got after that. Mm-hmm. And all of the players that they got after that were ruined by the coach that we had at the time. Mm-hmm. And that was actually Terry Pegula's first year as owner with the Bills is 2014. So, and I think the head coach was Doug Marrone at the time. So,
no, it couldn't have been because Marrone left when Pegula came.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So then, who was
2015?
Who was the head coach? 2014.
Was it
head coach was?
When did Ralph pass?
Who was the head coach? Yeah, Doug Marrone.
So 2014. So Ralph passed in 15 maybe. Yeah,
because Marrone left after 14.
Yeah, he used that. He exercised a clause to get out of Buffalo as soon as Ralph died.
Yeah. So it says right here, controlling owner was Mary Wilson. The sale of the team was approved October 8th of 2014. So yeah. As soon as Doug Marrone found that out, he was like, all right, I ain't staying there. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's one of those drafts where at the time we loved it, but because the coach wasn't invested and the coach didn't understand how to use the players, Whaley's picks didn't look so great. You know what I'm saying?
I think I would definitely agree with that. You look at everybody loved Nick O'Leary. Remember that 2015?
Yes, they did.
Ryan Darby was solid. John Miller was a good pick. We thought.
Yes, he was.
Carlos Williams was a good running back.
Yes, he was.
Desmond Lewis was a project, but that was a 7th rounder. You look at 2013, EJ Mayo, Robert Woods, Kiko Alonso, Marquise Goodwin, Duke Williams.
Duke Williams, when given a chance, could play.
Dude, Chris Gregg was actually pretty good when he got a chance. Dustin Hopkins is still in the league.
Yep.
Jonathan Meeks was all right as a backup safety. Duke Williams was a starter. Marquise Goodwin was that speed you needed. Robert Woods was that all-around wide receiver. Kiko Alonso was that manimal at linebacker. This is not a bad draft.
No.
Stephon Gilmore, Cordy Glenn, T.J. Graham, Nigel Bradham, Ron Brooks. Zebry Sanders was adequate. Tank Carter was somebody they really liked out of TCU.
Yep.
Mark Asprin, they were fulfilling needs and getting quality players. So, yeah, they weren't drafts that worked out. But when you look at the draft, you say, "Oh, this makes sense." Now you contrast that with the 2019? No, 2021, where you're doubling up Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham, then Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle, which your 2nd round draft pick and your 5th round draft pick are no longer even on the team.
Right.
And that's only 3 years ago.
Oh, Columbus Bully didn't like that answer. He ... Really?
What's the answer?
Columbus Bully.
Oh. Sorry, that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
Well, I look at it like this. That those were the days where we were still in the drought, And B, most teams dealt with that on a regular basis. There was always a power struggle between what the coach wanted and what the GM wanted on how the GM wanted to build his team. Mm-hmm. We're just now starting to see the transition where teams are giving the head coach the ability to create the team he wants. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's one of those things where it was the time that they lived in, and it was something that was actually real. It was the head coach not understanding. I mean, we're seeing it now. The team signed La'el Collins and keeps him at right tackle, and he's getting blown up in minicamp, and people are just sitting there shaking their head. Oh, he's past his time. Yeah. I said this on day 3 of the draft on Rico's show. He's not a tackle anymore. Mm-hmm. Put him at guard. Mm-hmm. Why is this so hard to figure out? Why is it so hard to figure out that you don't take a corner who's actually pretty darn good on special teams and at the position that he's played all his life and put him in a position he's never played before? Why? Because you just need to fill a hole. Cam Lewis. Yep. I mean, because it's worked in certain cases doesn't mean it should be the overarching theme to the way you do business going forward.
And that seems to be what they do. They
right.
like to reorganize and reprogram people. They don't want to leave people in their best fits. You know, obviously with Rousseau's and people like that. Oh yeah, we can make him a defensive tackle. No, you can't make him. Put him where he's supposed to be.
Right.
And don't typecast him as a pass rusher because he's not.
Right.
And that's fine. You don't have to be, but you should have somebody on the other side that is.
Yeah, and I know. So Columbus Bully said you're making, and I'm gonna get to the other comments. I promise. I'm not just gonna go back and forth with Bully all night.
Wait. Columbus, are you subscribed? Because if you're gonna slander us, you gotta subscribe first.
I don't think it's slander. I think
I
just think he doesn't like Doug Whaley's drafts. But
I don't think he likes Doug Whaley, which I understand.
Oh, my gosh. Laura said I'm going to need to find a happy place after this show. Listen, this started with breaking news. We didn't even intend on going here. We were supposed to be talking about the defensive line and how the rotation doesn't work. And really, all of this started because Pierre said.
Blame Pierre.
Right. Blame Pierre. Yeah. Pierre said on the show on Thursday, he commented, he said, young prospects, young pass rushers in particular, aren't going to work on this team because of the rotation, the way that they have orchestrated this defensive line. Yeah. That's what we were supposed to be talking about. Somehow we ended up here. Yeah. But to your point, Bully, I understand how you think we're making your point. What I'm trying to say is I don't think you can indict Whaley's drafts if the players he picks aren't being used right. You know what I'm saying? How can I say this?
I mean, case in point, Shaq Lawson. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
Rex Ryan said, "I need an outside linebacker. I need a rush." Shaq Lawson gets drafted because he's the best available at what Rex asked for. Shaq Lawson says, "I, in fact, have never played in that position, so I knew I wasn't going to Buffalo." Right. Now, Whaley said, "Okay, this probably won't work, but I'm going to get you the best player I can for what you're asking," which is what Shaq Lawson was. And that's the difference between Whaley and Bean to me. Bean will say, "What? Are you sure about that?" Where Whaley would say, "You know what? Bet. Let's make it happen."
Right.
He liked scouting.
Yep.
He liked to be able to do that thing. And Bean is like, "I like scouting, but I want to build a roster."
Right.
And that's the difference between the two.
Right. Cinque says, "I think this year was possibly the best draft, but Bean is leaving it to Sean to coach him. I think it's a coaching issue. We're one of the only teams that don't trust rookies. It's a coaching issue."
Yep.
I love the point.
That's an excellent point. And it makes me sick, but it's an excellent point.
Yeah. Sorry, Laura. She said she's going to need to find a happy place after this episode.
No, we're going to bring it back full circle,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Steve, what's going on, man? Haven't heard from you in a while. Steve Noble. Sorry, we got to differentiate Steves now. We got Steve Lynn and Steve Noble. Every draft he says every draft is different, and sometimes you repeat picks to find the right guy when you have a deep roster. This year was different, and it may be Bean's best draft because he had many needs. Yeah, I think it was. Well, so the other part of it was this. Not only did they have a lot of needs, but they didn't have a lot of cap space to go out and sign like they're used to doing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now they had to make things happen in the draft. They had to get guys that could come in and contribute early. That's why I think this is probably going to be the most interesting year aside from when we drafted Josh Allen, because now Sean has to work with younger players. This is truly a year of sink or swim for Sean. Really, you either evolve and learn how to work with younger players and trust younger players, or you dead in water.
That's why I'm excited about this year, because like you said, you have to. There's no reliance on veterans like Joey Bosa's and people like that. You have to play with what you got. And I'm interested in seeing him do it. I'm interested in seeing what he can do with the roster that he built without money, if you will. He built this roster with a lot of one-year contracts, a lot of bar. Your number one wide receiver right now is Curtis Samuel. He makes $8 million. That's your top paid receiver. $8 million. Tell me another team in the league that's the top paid wide receiver. You really can't, because it's impossible. And the thing is, now you have a rookie offensive coordinator, you got a rookie defensive coordinator, and you say, I got to make this thing work, because I'm on my last legs. I'm Sean McDermott, and I got all this stuff going on. I can't misstep anymore. I know it. You know, and this might be the fire lit under him that will breed something different than what we've seen in years past.
Right.
And I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens. As much as I am fed up and over what I've seen the last 6 years, listen, if Sean proves that he can handle this and he steps up and he's trusting young players and he's making adjustments. I mean, this is probably the second best staff situation that he's had since he had Frazier, Dayball, a lot of the older heads that he had. One of the things that I praised him for when he first agreed to become the head coach here was he's a first-time head coach, but he's bringing tenured guys on. He's bringing guys that have been in the game for a long time. And that spoke to a level of wisdom that he had to do that. Now, whether that was wisdom or whether that was him, putting guys that in the room that he could, pick their brains and just use them, either way, I think to some degree it worked for his benefit. And I think what he's done this year, getting younger coaches onto the team to work with younger players in a year where they have to depend on younger players, looks like a smart move. Let's see how it plays out. Steve says, outside looking in, said Bean needs this to be the 2012 Seahawks draft class then. Yeah, probably. That's the thing. I think more than any other draft class that we've had, this can be. I think this draft class has the potential to be the best in the entire series of draft classes that we've seen so far, just because of the needs that they fill. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the bruising running back that has great contact balance in Ray Davis. You got Dwayne Carter, who is good against the pass and the rush, and a smart football player, a high motor guy, kind of like Kyle Williams was, where he's great because of the way that he thinks the game, the way that he reads the plays and all that kind of stuff. So it's his mind that makes him great. You know what I'm saying? Javon Solomon, a dominant, speedy, bendy passer. You know what I'm saying? Like I really, really think this draft class, and I didn't love it initially, but I had to get to know the guys. I had to, watch more film on them and stuff like that, because I'm not a big draft person. I don't do a lot of scouting and stuff like that. I'll watch a few guys here and there. That's your thing, brother. Huh?
That was my holiday. It was beautiful.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to say the least. Steve Noble says Javon Solomon is the next Matt Milano 5th round superstar. His body makeup is freaky and will be an absolute stud. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. More than that, I hope he gets a chance.
I am excited about the fact he can play behind Von Miller. I'm really excited about that.
But okay, so you and Max said this. You think Von is going to be like starter, like out there?
I think he'll probably be a starter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, you want that. I I have to see how long they leave him out there for. Because there's one
That's
thing.
the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
rotation, I think he's going to
Right.
get started because he's only going to play 48% of the snaps. But
Right.
in this defense, starting, especially defensive line, starting is just name only, because you'll play the first two players and get pulled, and it really doesn't matter who starts. But yeah, I really want to see Javon Solomon hone his handwork with regards to, what Von Miller has done his whole career. Von Miller was lauded for his speed to power to speed, his bend, his deception, his twitchiness, and Javon Solomon has that. So he's a ball of clay out of Troy that led the nation in sacks last year. But there's a lot to do. There's a lot of work to do with him, and he's not going to be a run stuff specialist. So get that out of your head. He's going to give up plays against the run, but he'll make dividends when it comes to pass rush. Even if he doesn't get home, he's going to be a lot better than what we've seen in the past.
I love this one. Steve Lynn says, in a wide receiver talent-rich draft where we needed 2 for Josh.
No, Steve. No, we're not doing it, Steve. They already said this show was depressing. They already said the show was depressing. We're not doing this. We're not doing it. They said it was depressing as it is.
Listen, Laura putting mad faces out there now. So, I mean.
See? She mad at me. She mad at Sorry, Laura.
No, I don't even think she meant the mad face the way it looks. But so where was I? In a wide receiver talent risk draft where we needed 2 for Josh and to save money and be competitive, we trade down and draft 1 that can't separate, but this was a good draft. Smoke that McDermott hopium.
The hopium.
Listen. That's all we have at this point. We're broke. Okay, we're broke. We're flat broke. We don't have a plethora of talent anymore. We don't have amazing depth like we used to have. We have to make it work with these young guys.
We're broke.
What do you want me to do? I am literally the Monopoly guy standing there with holding both pockets out of his pants. Like that's the Bills right now. We broke.
I'm just standing here naked, just hoping that somebody just throws me something.
Listen, we broke broke right now.
Yeah, I mean, to Steve's point, he is absolutely correct. I mean, anybody that watched that Rico show when we drafted Crable, when we drafted Clayton, I was like, what? Why? I mean, because you had other needs. The number 2 wide receiver, Jaquan Jackson was on the board in 6th round. Malik Washington was on the board in 6th round. Your boy Johnny Wilson was there. Casey, there was a lot of wide receivers that were viable in the 6th round. Mm-hmm. But you go ahead and take a defensive, offensive tackle that's not going to probably make the team. 7th round, you take a flyer on a guy from London, which is cool.
But you put him on the offensive line instead of the defensive line.
Instead of defensive line, which is an epic fail. So that goes to show what you said earlier about trying to make people into something they aren't. Now, with Travis Clayton, he's never played football before, so who knows? I can tell you by his body type. I've seen him in person. He's not going to be a success at offensive line. I'd have put a D line because his base is sturdy. Upper body, he got a lot of work to do. I'm no Adonis.
With his length, that can be managed, and that's the thing with McDermott's wrestling background, with the coaches that they have coaching the defensive line, they could in about, I'd say, 2 years, that guy could be a solid backup. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing for a team that needs depth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But again, I need some justification for why they're putting guys where they're putting them, because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, especially when you. I mean, I'm not going to keep banging on the guy, but the pickup of Gable Steveson, that tells you right there you have a need at D line. What better to put a D line than a guy that's 6'7", 303 pounds?
Right.
I mean, he played rugby. That's football without pads. Right. How much better does it get?
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, I get the fact that they block they don't block in rugby. I forgot they don't. There's no lines in rugby. There's no blocking schemes. When I played football, I played defensive line because it was the easiest to learn for me. There's not all this terminology on offensive line. There's not all these block sets. There's not all this, I got to look there, I got to look. My job, get past him, get to him. That was all I had to do. Yep. This dude is 6'7", 301. What did he do in rugby? He got past him, tackled him. You tackle in rugby. You tackle. Yep. And it's a form tackle. He knows how to tackle. He's fast enough. I think he ran like a 4.75 or something like that at 6.73. What are you thinking about?
Billy said Kmart special.
Man, he's Timu.
Yeah. Laura says, I was going to say McD is a defensive genius, but then I remembered 13 seconds. That's where the mad face was.
Oh.
She says, but for real, we scraped it together with a bare bones crew last year. He's got something. Yeah, I mean, he's always had something. They saw something in him when he was back in Philly with Andy Reid. It just comes down to his personality and his ability to be personable with the players that he's coaching, because that was the reason he only lasted 1 year in Philly. But he was definitely supposed to be the guy that took over that defense after Joe Johnson left, and there was a vacancy there. You know what I mean? At that point, Sean was just a defensive backs coach. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But because he kind of became the right-hand guy for Joe Johnson, he got the shot. And I'm not implying nepotism or anything like that, but just we know how relationships help to develop opportunities.
Which is fine. Which is fine.
But that was it was reported that was the complaint in Philly, was that the players found it too difficult to learn his defense, and his coaching wasn't helping them.
Right.
So after a year, they got rid of him.
That's what they said about McDermott?
Yeah, that's what they said about McDermott in Philly. Yeah. Wow. So and that was reported. It's not just me saying that. Right. I have no sources. You can go and find that and look that up. But yeah, that was the knock on him that year, was that like the players just they couldn't jive with him.
He couldn't learn it, and he wouldn't teach them.
Right.
He wasn't teaching the right way.
And that was also kind of that teetering transition period for the NFL, leaving the older, bigger, stronger, run the ball all the time league to this newer, smaller, faster, more exciting, throw the ball all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you were getting a lot more younger players from college that came in and saw opportunities early. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So Sean was forced to coach a lot of these younger guys, and it just didn't work out. Let me see. Daniel McLeod says, "Sup, fellas?
What up?
You think Frank Gore Jr. will make the team, or will he just be another fan favorite?"
Fan favorite.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't say that because obviously, if you watched the show before, I've talked a lot about his dad. Obviously, he was a decent player, good player, but I think Frank Gore Jr. He went to a very small school. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the wiggle. He doesn't really have anything that is marketable. I can see him making a practice squad because of his dad's relationship with McDermott, and maybe he'll earn something on the field. But I just don't think that he has what it takes at this point in time, coming out of Southern Miss, to actually contribute in the way that Ray Davis and Ty Johnson will. So I think he's gonna be the odd man out on that one. And I honestly put Darrington Evans above him when it comes to running backs. But
right. Let me see. So outside looking at outside looking at, said the justification is we're broke. Yeah, yes it is. He also said earlier in the chat, he said, to be hired as a coach on the staff, a person only needs to have attended William and Mary or worked for the Panthers. Seems like a limited pool of experience to hire.
That's probably about right.
Yeah.
He's got a pipeline. He's got that.
That's very true.
So if Tomlin ever gets fired, will he be his defensive coordinator?
Probably. He's going to be a linebackers coach somewhere. I promise you that. Let me see. Steve says, how many chances did it take Andy Reid? McD will get there. Well, okay.
Wait, this is definitely not Steve Lynn then.
This is Steve Noble.
I know it's not Steve Lynn.
Yeah, you know. I know for a fact. So we didn't even need to say what Steve it is. Just read the comment and we'll know. Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I will say this. There's a difference between making one AFC championship and 3 first-round playoff exits and 4 NFC championships in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, he not only made 4 NFC championship games, he won one of them and got through to the Super Bowl and just happened to play a Patriots team that was on a streak at that point. So, it's and that was at a time when his best receiver came off of a broken leg and had one of the best games in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
Right? So it wasn't like he wasn't still getting the best out of his players even then. He just happened to play a Patriots team in the middle of their Cheaterville horror show that they were running all over the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's tough. It's tough because there's little caveats and holes that we could poke in everything. But I think the major picture here is, yes, Andy Reid eventually broke through, but he was still better from the start.
Yeah, and he got fired in order to get better.
That's true too.
Like doing that. If
Yeah.
McDermott goes somewhere else to get better, that's a loss. That's a complete loss.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if you can figure out what Steve this is. He says, I can't understand how fans like Z-Bot are worried that the defense will suffer if McDermott was replaced like he's a genius. Don't people see how he gets out-coached by good teams, especially playoffs?
What's up, Steve Lynn? What's up, Steve Lynn?
Yeah, this is what happens. And again, I'm gonna try to be nice.
It's not me.
I'm trying to leave Laura on a good note. So we got to get out of here soon.
You're not doing well.
What it comes down to is there comes a point where what you've done to get to where you are is not enough anymore, and it can no longer be satisfactory. It is not something to be relied upon as some sort of badge of honor to lean on and throw in people's faces whenever they judge or criticize or doubt what you're doing currently, right? What I mean by that is Sean McDermott, even in the Tyler Dunne report, there were subtle mentions of a demeanor by Tyler Dunne about Sean McDermott that implied a rigidness, a stubborn. Actually, rigidness is one of the words used to describe him, but there's a stubbornness, an arrogance about the way that Sean McDermott operates in the building and the way that he coaches in games.
Yeah,
it's think about how arrogant it is to go and take that. This was in the Tyler Dunne report. This ain't according to my sources, even though I did hear that this was true and this is what happened. To have the arrogance to go and take away the playbook from a defensive coordinator who's been a head coach longer than you have at that point. You go and you take the playbook away from him, and you coach the entire last series and overtime, and you lose that game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention the game. Y'all know what game I'm talking about.
You said you're gonna leave Laura on a good note.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
Because the comment was he doesn't see how Steve was saying he don't people see how he gets outcoached by good teams, especially in playoffs. Mm-hmm. This year, I think there is going to be a difference in the way that he coaches crunch time situations. We talked about this a couple episodes ago where having the John Perry. Mm-hmm. Having John Perry on the team gives him a perspective and an advantage that he's not had his entire time here as a head coach.
Right.
I think that different perspective with someone who can think as fast as he needs them to, because I think that was the difference. Sean has always had somebody there to help him with crunch time decisions.
It's not been good enough.
But they haven't been guys that can process the game like John Perry can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that makes a big difference in the information that Sean is going to get, which will help him to make better decisions in the moment and maybe rely a little less on his own instinct and rely more on this analytical department that's been magically hidden from us but was supposed to be such a big part of what the Bills do. So I think that's something that is different that will make an impact. On top of that, he now has two young coaches that are much better developmental guys than what he's had before. He's had good coordinators that knew how to win games in the most recent generation or iteration of the NFL. But for where the NFL is going now, working with these younger players and being able to communicate with these guys and developing trust with these guys, I think he's got a much better staff in place for that right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think that also makes a difference because when you're talking about what happens in game, when you're talking about what the information that you need that coordinators need to get from players, that Sean is going to be listening to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because The coach, his headset never goes off. He hears everything that everybody talks about,
Yep.
right? So all of this new information, the way that it's being communicated to coaches that are probably going to get more information out of the players because the players want to give more because they trust these coaches a little bit more, and they're being developed better by these coaches. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a cascading effect that comes from those three decisions: Joe Brady, Bobby Babich, and John Perry. So I think that's going to make a difference. I think that's going to lead to an uptick in performance in those crunch times.
I had a thought before we go. Actually, I saw something, and I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
If, for any reason, Louis Sané gets cut by the Vikings,
Oh God, why'd you bring this dude back?
would you be interested? Now, the reason why I asked that is because he's about the 5th or 6th safety on their team. They got him playing box. His natural position is free. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, 4.37 speed. College, he had 9 interceptions. I think one season he had 7 interceptions. He's a ball hawk. That's what he does. He's been out of position pretty much both years of his pro career. Would you be interested in giving Babich a chance with this guy if he's available? I think he's only, 24?
Yes, I would.
Even at the expense of Mike Edwards, huh?
I don't need Mike Edwards to play.
No, I don't. But I mean, I saw it, and I remember the Bills had interest in Louis Sané when he got drafted. They had him in as a visit, one of those pre-draft visits, and I didn't know enough about him. I remember him coming out of Georgia, but I really delved into it when I saw that he was on the outs, and I said, what safety does he play? He's out of position. Oh, they got him playing box. We got a young boy trying to put it free. He plays box. Cole Bishop. Move him over. Go ahead and put Sané over there at free safety. Maybe you don't start off the season with those two as your starters, but I could see a world where you have a 24 and a 23-year-old safety running the backfield for years to come. Oh God. Okay, go ahead.
Yo, Lindsay is a beast. Oh my God,
is he beasting you or me?
No,
okay.
It ain't none of us.
Okay.
Yes, Laura, I still refuse to name my sources. Right, Laura saw it. Lindsay says, wait. I want to make sure that's not connected to another comment. Okay, yeah. So Lindsay goes, and here's hoping to get Steve Lynn to shut up about McDermott. Jeez.
Did she get censored? Oh man.
Yeah. Steve ain't got no chill either. He says as soon as he gets fired.
You got a little PPP family.
Wait, he says as soon as he gets fired or get us to the Super Bowl, I'll be real quiet. I mean, that's the thing. I've always known I know sometimes it could sound bleak, and that's one of the things I know about Steve early on is it's just a different standard. It's just a different standard. You know what I mean? Like I kind of share the sentiment. Not saying that everything that I say is going to be negative, and I don't even think everything Steve says is negative. It's just funny. It's just funny.
Yeah, I mean we have different standards. We have different visions of where we want the team to be.
Yeah,
and that's okay. A lot of people are happy we got a Bills team, which I am too. But I also, since we got Josh Allen and the rest of the guys, especially when we had Diggs playing at a top 4 level wide receiver, I wanted to go further than the first round.
Exactly.
I thought we had the horses, but the thing is, what frustrated me was when they kept giving me these retread or brand new offensive coordinators. When they kept giving me the same hoo-ha about why we can't do this at the third. Why can't you go out there and get a draft pick? They're free. Well, they're not free, but you know what I mean.
No, they are free.
You can't. They can't tell you no unless you're Eli Manning. They're not going to tell you no. You can build your team that way. You're in Buffalo. That's what the team is based on. Youth. The team is based on not free will, if you will.
Right.
Guys, you want a job? We got it for you. Come to Buffalo. But instead, they want to go out there and draft, and they get scared of their draft picks, and they go ahead and pay somebody. So what'd you draft them for? You're wasting my time. How many we looked through the list. How many of those draft picks did we even name actually play? How many of them played in Buffalo, we'll say? Because they're playing elsewhere, but they didn't play here. Yeah. Why is that? Why is it that you go ahead and start Vlad Dukas over people all the time? Why is it that you go ahead and get, John Feliciano more than one time? Why is it that you keep drafting and bringing in other people?
They did bring him back another time.
Yeah, it's like, they were cool at first, but then it's like, it's not working. It's not working, and you're just hemorrhaging money. So whoever it was earlier that talked about the why am I being so hard on the way they're spending money or who their players are? That's why, because they're bringing. Look at the practice squad. I've said this how many times? They keep bringing Eli Anku back, Joseph. They keep bringing Joseph back. They keep bringing all these guys back. They make the practice squad is for you to try out, so we can see as many people as we can on this team, right?
Yeah.
You never get that when you keep bringing the same people back. Matt Barkley was guaranteed a quarterback spot, so we had to go back and get Trubisky again.
But you do that stuff when the culture is more important than winning.
Right.
That's what you do.
Right.
When the focus of what you're doing in the building on a day-to-day basis is focused on the culture and not Super Bowls.
And that's the part that pisses me off. Nothing else but that part. I don't get mad about McDermott. I don't get mad about, who they want on the team. I don't get mad about the draft picks. I get mad when what you just said occurs. When you see where you can improve. When you do your legwork and you can spot out Steve Lynn, you can name off Lindsay, you can name off Laura, you can name off OLI, you guys can name off, and people that don't really comment in the chat, you can name off players that would have made this team better, but why can't we get them? Because they're out there and we got Von Miller, we can't afford them now? Or because you decided you were going to go ahead and draft another offensive lineman when you could have got a wide receiver? Then that's what drives me nuts. Because truth be told, I enjoy offseason more than I enjoy the actual season.
Really?
Oh, much more. I enjoy watching teams be built. I mean, on the field, it's fine. It's like watching wrestling. When you watch wrestling as a kid, what was more entertaining, the promos or the actual wrestling? It was watching the mic work. It was watching the off field, the storyline.
On wrestling?
Like wrestling and stuff like that. Like
that was more interesting to you?
To me than just watching them wrestle?
Yeah.
I could turn the actual wrestling off. But watching my oh yeah, Hulkamania. Man, give me that. Give me all that.
Really?
The Rock. Give me all that. Give me Stone Cold. If you know what Stone Cold say. That's the bottom line. Because give me that stuff. Once they get in the ring and they grappling, and I don't care about that part. So when it's football,
wow.
Like they say, the scouts when the draft is done, you go on vacation. That's kind of how I am. My mind goes on vacation once the off season's over. When the season starts, I'm like, all right, let's get ready for next year. I'm watching college. I'm watching, doing my reading. So yeah, that's how I operate.
Jeez. All right, we got to get out of here before you get fired. I want to leave.
They won't.
Everyone with
they never will.
A couple of things.
They never will.
I know. This chat is going crazy. It's hilarious right now.
Is Steve okay?
No, yeah. I mean,
okay,
they
Steve okay?
They didn't sing Kumbaya and everything.
Cool.
Let's see. Outside looking in says preach, Key. Steve said this show makes me want to fly to Buffalo to be on the podcast and go Katie Williams on this joint. Oh, Cat Williams. Okay. Yeah, he said Cat Williams. I'm like, who's Katie Williams?
Your alliance with losers.
I mean, it sounded funny. Yeah.
Your alliance with losers.
Listen, I'll take it. You want to come on the show, bro? Let me know. But yeah, I want to leave everybody with this one because I think ultimately. When we're talking about the defensive line, which was the conversation we tried to have this whole entire time.
We actually had it. We didn't do any stuff. Yeah. We did nothing else. I had some other stuff, but we'll get to it
Which
later.
is weird because we never have a single topic go the whole show. Right. It's always stuff we heard that takes over.
Because stuff we heard is the stuff. That's why Laura's depressed. She tuned in for the stuff.
And the breaking news, of course. Hopefully everybody got that. But I want to leave everybody with a comment from Steve. And you can figure out which Steve this is. He says, I feel like Bobby Babich as DC has been the missing piece for McD. Everything Babich has touched has turned to gold.
Thank you, Steve Lynn.
We just gonna call him Lynn and Noble from now on?
Noble?
Steve Noble, yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't think of what the last name was that fast, but thank you so much for that piece. And honestly, I know we're getting out of here, but that's one of the reasons why I was interested in Louis Sané if he gets cut, because look what he did with Hyde and Poyer. I would love to see him try it again.
Yeah, T-Bone, we did start late, man. My bad.
I mean, it was like 3 minutes.
No. We usually start at like between 6:15 and 6:20, but we didn't start till like 6:25, something
really?
like that.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. No, I'm not doing that. Outside looking in says, if you really want to show us love, leave us with your source. Y'all go. It's driving y'all crazy. I'm gonna let it keep happening. I'm gonna let it keep happening. All right, let's get this going.
Yes, sir.
All right, get your raffle tickets out, folks. If you hear that music, oh, that's probably kind of loud. Okay, that's got to be a lot better. All right, if you're hearing the music, that means we got to get out of here. Keyshawn's about to get fired, and Junie's got some dinner to eat when we go home. So, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, make that thing,
Ring-a-ling-a-ling.
so you can get notifications when we send notifications, so that you can be informed on when we go live. Right, T-Bone? That one's for you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm saying that's what you're saying. You know what?
Oh yeah, probably, yeah. Something getting thrown at the screen right now.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go over now because I done forgot. So he said, yeah, but I have the what on? This stupid heart is in the way. He does have the bell on. Okay. Oh, so you found out. All right. I don't know why I didn't tell you.
Correct it.
Yeah. It's gonna be over 90. You're right. It wasn't going to be, but then I read the comments and
Just
got
start it
tripped
right now.
up.
Just go back.
Yeah.
Let's go back. There you go.
Okay. All right. So here's how this is working. So, like, subscribe, comment. Listen, our social media links are in the description. Okay. I'm still working on getting a link for Ree's tea. I know I talked about the tea. It's by far the best tea you will ever taste in your life. Somebody made a comment about people making Long Island's with this tea, and I gotta tell you, Long Island is like one of my favorite drinks.
Yeah.
And making it with this tea seems like it would be good. Just because the tea is so good. Like, it doesn't even.
There's actually no tea in Long Island iced tea. So whatever.
I know that.
Weird.
But it would. I mean, it tastes like tea. It would taste like this tea.
They trying to make an immigrant.
If you make a Long Island good enough, it tastes like that. Yeah, it's really good. But I'm working on getting a link for that, okay? Because we're right now we got a bunch of soft launches and stuff that's happening with that drink and that brand and all that. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'm trying to get a couple of bottles in here for Key and Mac to try live on the show.
Ooh, bottles, huh?
Yeah.
Popping bottles of
glass bottles too.
Regular.
Glass bottles. It's premium everything, man. Premium everything.
Everything.
Yes, sir. So, listen, hit us up. Hit us up on social media. Let's talk. Because I forgot. Oh yeah, probably. Tequila Sunrise? I've never had one of those.
Yeah, it's an easy drink to make.
Is it? All right. Well, next holiday.
Tequila, orange juice, and grenadine.
Okay. Send me the recipe.
It's all about the layering.
Right. All right, yeah, so I got to get out of here because Outside Looking In is making so much money off of me right now. Listen, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for commenting. Get those likes up. Get them up. And we'll see y'all on the episode on Thursday. I'm pretty sure I got it lined up for next Monday. If we don't get it next Monday, we're going to do it the following Monday. So that is, I'm going way over now, but y'all need to hear about this. So next Monday, we're going to have our
first, and the following Monday is the 8th.
Perfect. Thank you. So one of those Mondays, if we're not able to do it this coming Monday, we'll do it the following. But our first in-studio guest, NFL player, can give us some inside information and inside perspective. We're gonna get into some really nice deep conversation about some of the stuff that is gonna be very interesting to you guys. And y'all need to tune in to see it. I'm just gonna start all over again. I keep letting it get to the end. There ain't no point. Outside Looking In has made what?
A lot.
Yeah, this is 4 or 5 different times I restarted this. So yeah, so look for that. If not this coming Monday, the following Monday, we will have that for you. Just pay Outside $1,000.
I stay trying to help you settle and take everything down, but he make it hard for me. I got to get out of here.
No, don't even try it. Don't even try. You don't even get here until 5:55.
I'm trying to help you take it down. I got to get my lights and all this stuff. We got to go.
All right. Everything else I got to say, I'll put in the announcements or whatever if there's more. See y'all on Thursday. What?
Basketball Truth and Knowledge. My oldest son, Junie, he does a great job.
Take him. Take him. He can come live with you.
Hey,
That's your
whatever
oldest
days.
son?
We need extra bodies at the job.
you packing
What days
yourself?
you do on live on what days?
Wednesdays and Saturday. He got a team now too. He got a researcher. He got a co-host. All of that. If you haven't checked him out, you better get in
Doing
early.
big things.
Get in early. Wednesday and Thursday live during the NBA draft. Okay, there you go. All right, we got to get out of here. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the All Truth, No Sodium Takes. I've been your co-host, Aramis.
This key.
And we out of here. Y'all have a great night.